Yo, what's up everybody? This is James. I'm making this video as a quick response to Jason Levi's comment on one of the old posts where he asks, what are you doing to fill the practice time and how much of that practice time is playing versus rest, etc. So, here we are. This is the practice room here, my garage. Anyways, and this board is what I want you to take a look at. This is kind of what's going to answer all those questions. So basically I just write down everything that I'm working on, right? And this top chunk here, these three things up here, it's a little experiment, 3-week experiment where all I'm going to do to work on my jazz playing is just practice this minor blues tune, Boogie Stop Shuffle by Charles Mingus. If you don't know it, check it out. It's got a really cool head. So anyways, so I've got the melody here. So what I'll do is, I left off at the minor 4 chord in the key of G minor last time, so I do this for about 10 or 15 minutes. I just set the timer and then I play through the melody from that point. And once I've made it through the melody one time without any mistakes, I'll just cycle up to the next key. So I'll go up to A flat minor, and then I'll work the melody like that as well. And then once the timer rings, I'll just note where I stopped, and then I'll pick it up at that point when I come back to that. And I only come back to that after working on something else. So for example, I have here the solo transcription that I'm working on. It's a Marshall Gilkes solo that's on YouTube. He plays some really cool triad stuff. So, you know, I'll work on that for 10 or 15 minutes. I'll get some of those ideas in my ear and figure them out on the horn, right? And then I'll move on to improvise over A flat minor blues, and I did that for 5 minutes. Whenever I'm improvising, I only improvise currently for 5-minute chunks of time, because that's as long as I can do it before and truly improvise before I get into finger wiggling syndrome, right? So once I've completed all these, then I'll just keep cycling through them, mixing and matching them, go back and forth, whatever feels right at the time. So then down here I have, this is my technique stuff. So I've got single tongue from number 17 out of a book I'm working out. So then I'll come over here, and I'll pull up whatever the book is that I'm using, and I'll work on that for the predetermined amount of time, 5 minutes. And then when I'm done, I'll just wipe this out and fill in where I'm going to start next time. Same thing with the K tongue, same thing with lip slurs, and the same thing with sight reading. I do all this stuff just one time per day. I find that working on technique is really fatiguing to my embouchure and tongue and everything. So just a little tiny bit of that each day seems to go a long way. And then, you know, I'll put other notes here. Like I said, is this improving my ear or not? So that's just a good way to know if the exercise that you're working on is, you know, helpful from an ear training perspective. So anyways, how much of that time is practice versus rest? The way that I do it is, and I got this from a blog called Jazz Advice, where they recommend thinking through the line. So I'll think through it from note to note, super slow, you know, the interval from one note to the next, and hold out each note in my imagination, and then I'll sing it, you know, and then I'll play it. So really, when I'm practicing, during that practice time, that 10 or 15 minute practice time, 2/3 of the time the horn is not on my face, but I'm still working through the material, either singing it or mentally rehearsing it. So in that way, you can get a lot of productive work in. You can work productively for a couple hours a day without overly fatiguing your embouchure, which is really nice. So that's basically what I've been doing. Couple other notes, like there's not too many items on this board because I found that it has a tendency to get overcomplicated, where I'll be working on, like, you know, 10 or 15 different items at the same time. So that's why I'm doing this little experiment with the Boogie Stop Shuffle, to see if just alternating between these 3 different basic kind of exercises, to see what that does for me. just to keep things nice and simple. So anyways, well, that's it. So I hope that is helpful, and I hope you can use that information to make better decisions with your own practice time, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.